Nervous?
A little. AnnaTommy, welcome. You have proven yourselves to be quite excellent in the area of science, in particular human anatomy. You are about to be given an opportunity and a challenge few will ever receive. The chance to travel inside the human body. In order to travel inside the body, you will ride in the ship you see behind you. This ship is equipped with everything you will need, including a highly sophisticated computer that will serve as your guide. You will then be shrunk down and placed inside the body. Along the way, you will be asked to participate and assist with various tasks. These tasks will be important, so pay close attention. I know you will do very well. In addition, your entire mission will be tracked from this room. You will start this incredible journey in the aorta, the largest artery in the body. So keep your ears and eyes open and board your ship. All systems are go.
Welcome aboard. I am your onboard computer. Besides being cute and charming, I will guide you as you travel through the body. AnnaTommy, fasten your seatbelts. Now in the aortic arc, right outside the heart. Please choose a direction, or don't press anything and just sit there.
The endocrine system, the gland and hormone capital of the body.
Approaching endocrine system. We are now traveling in Hormoneville, beautiful gland land, the body's regulator, the...
Computer, I think you're getting carried away. What do we have to do here?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. My circuits got crossed for a moment.
Glands located all around the body release chemicals called hormones directly into the bloodstream.
These chemicals instruct specific organs or tissues to do something. Anything from growing taller to feeling better, or regulating body temperature, for example.
While in the endocrine system, I'm going to test your smarts. You will be presented with a series of questions about the endocrine system. So, listen carefully. Approaching pituitary gland, located at the top of the brainstem.
The pituitary gland is considered the master gland because in addition to producing, it also tells other endocrine glands to make hormone.
The pituitary basically tells your body when to grow up. Obviously, Tommy, your pituitary hasn't kicked in yet.
Remind me not to listen to you anymore.
Attention! Please answer the following questions. Each correct question will transport you to your next destination. Which organ produces the hormone called adrenaline? The pituitary gland, the testes, or the I'm sorry, that is it. Which organ produces the hormone called adrenaline? The pituitary gland, the testes, or the I'm sorry, that is it. Which organ produces the hormone called adrenaline? The pituitary gland, the testes, or the
Correct.
The adrenal medulla.
Adrenaline can make the human body do amazing things, like give you strength you didn't know you had in an emergency, or make you run faster than you thought possible.
Adrenaline is produced when we're angry or frightened, so that the body is able to react to whatever the problem is.
And now the next question. Which organ produces the female hormone estrogen? The thyroid, the ovaries, or the testes?
Correct. The ovaries produce estrogen, which is a female hormone. It's mostly responsible for telling the body to develop female characteristics.
So far, I think we're doing pretty well. What's the next?
Which organ controls the rate at which the body uses fuel? The ovaries, the adrenal medulla, or the thyroid.
Right. The thyroid produces hormones that regulate metabolism.
Metabolism is the process of converting food into fuel. If a person has an underactive thyroid gland, their metabolism will be slower and they might feel weak or lazy.
And if it's overactive, they might lose weight and feel nervous. Give us the next question.
Which organ produces the male hormone testosterone? The pituitary, the pancreas, or the
Correct. The testes produce the male hormone testosterone, which is mainly responsible for giving men male characteristics. We're on a roll. Next.
Which organ produces the hormone responsible for the amount of calcium in our bones and in our blood? The parathyroid, the testes, or the...
Correct. Calcium is an element that makes bones and teeth strong. It also helps maintain heartbeat and nerve function. Without it, we'd be in trouble.
We're almost there. Next question, computer.
Which organ produces the hormone insulin and also makes digestive enzymes? The pancreas, the adrenal medulla, or the...
Correct.
The pancreas produces insulin, which enables the body to convert sugar into energy.
It also produces enzymes that break down food. Sometimes the pancreas has a problem producing insulin, so the body can't effectively break down sugar. That's called diabetes. I think that just about covers the whole system.
And covered it you have. You have completed the endocrine system.
We're out of here. Nice job, Anna.
Now approaching urinary system.
The urinary system helps clean the blood of waste, allows us to get rid of excess liquid, and maintains the body's chemical balance.
I don't know. It all sounds kind of gross.
The body has 2 kidneys that are located on each side of the spine, pretty much where your waist is.
Now approaching the kidneys.
The kidneys are reddish organs about the size of your fist, and they're made up of millions of tiny filtering structures called nephrons. Blood enters either kidney and goes into the nephrons where waste materials, unneeded elements, and excess water are.
Important nutrients like proteins and blood cells remain in the blood. The kidney is able to regulate the body's chemical and water balance by determining what and how much is eliminated. The waste products then filter into larger tubes.
Use the ship's shield to bounce needed nutrients back into the blood while allowing waste to pass into the ureters. The arrow keys will move the ship left or right. Use the ship's shield to bounce needed nutrients back into the blood while allowing waste to pass into the ureters. The arrow keys will move the ship left or right.
The ureters. What happens to the waste products and excess water once it goes into the ureters?
That fluid is called urine, and it will flow down the ureters into the bladder.
The bladder? I don't think...
Too late. Now entering the bladder.
The bladder is a tough muscular pouch that stores urine until it's ready to be eliminated from the body.
When it is ready to be released, it travels down a tube called the urethra. Get us back into the bladder.
Congratulations! You have completed the urinary system.
The reproductive system is a pretty intense place. The organs needed to have children are all located here.
You're right. There's a lot to look at, so be quiet and keep your eyes peeled.
Attention! Approaching testes.
The testes. Those are the two male glands located in the scrotum, the skin sac that lies right under...
Hey, when do we get to the female reproductive system? I want to see that.
Relax, Anna. Maybe like the fact that the testes produce and store spermatozoa, or sperm, the male reproductive cells.
We are now entering the epididymis. Listen up. It seems that sperm cells are not dividing properly. Use the arrow keys to aim and the space bar to shoot at and break up the reproductive cell clusters into individual sperm cells. Move the ship forward by pressing the up arrow. You may have to hit a cluster more than once to break it apart. Avoid colliding with...
A hormone is a chemical that instructs the body to do something. About age 12 to 14, testosterone makes a boy's body do all sorts of interesting things, like increase his height, grow facial hair, and deepen his voice.
Now approaching the vas deferens. The vas deferens is a tube where the newly produced sperm cells are mixed with fluid. This mixture of sperm cells and fluid is known as semen. Now traveling in the urethra.
The urethra is the tube that continues from the vas deferens and runs down the middle of the penis. Both semen and liquid body wastes from the bladder travel down this tube and are released outside the body.
Oh no, computer. Reverse, please.
And now take us to the female reproductive system.
Okie dokie. The female reproductive system.
The ovaries are the organs where female reproductive cells are formed, become eggs...
Ovaries are also important because they produce hormones that make women different from men.
Well, that explains it.
At puberty, around age 10 to 14, women begin to develop breasts, their hips widen, and they begin to release reproductive cells. Oh, they also become smarter than men.
Hey, that's not true, and you know it.
The ovary.
Well, I tried.
Attention! Reproductive eggs need to be released from follicles. Please, eggs develop and mature inside follicles. Use the arrow keys to aim and the space bar to shoot the follicles so they can release the eggs. Move the ship forward by holding down the up arrow. Avoid running into either follicles or released eggs.
We're headed into one of the fallopian tubes.
Every month after a woman reaches puberty, one of the two ovaries will release an egg into the
It then heads into the uterus.
Look, Tommy, that's an egg.
It's also called an ovum.
Computer, follow that egg and step on it. When the female's egg and male sperm cell unite, it's called fertilization. Every month, the walls of a woman's uterus fill up with blood. If the egg does not become fertilized, the blood is released. That's called menstruation. Women start to experience this when they reach puberty. If the egg does become fertilized, it will attach itself to the wall of the uterus, and the blood will supply nutrients so the baby can develop and grow.
Next up should be the vagina.
Now passing the cervix, the opening at the bottom of the uterus.
The vagina is the muscular canal in the lower part of the female's reproductive system.
It's also called the birth canal, since it's the last place a baby passes through before it comes out.
If that's the case, we'd better get back into the bloodstream, or we'll be outside the body soon. Computer, back to the bloodstream.
Your wish is my command. Congratulations! You have completed the reproductive system. Approaching lymphatic system.
Hold on.
Transition to lymphatic system successful.
Coolness, the lymphatic system, the body's defense system.
The femur, the longest bone in the human body, located in the thigh. The center is made up of a soft, sponge-like substance called bone marrow.
We're in the middle of a bone. Oh, right. The bone marrow functions like a factory producing red and white blood cells and other important blood components.
Red blood cells are important because they carry oxygen to all cells in the body.
White blood cells are key. They defend the body against disease.
The cells start out immature, like you, Anna. Then once they mature, they are released into the blood to do their thing.
Shame we can't release you into the bloodstream.
Attention, kids. Red and white blood cells are not maturing properly. It's time for some of that AnnaTommy. Use the arrow keys to aim and the space bar to shoot all mature red and white blood cells to free them into the bloodstream. Be sure to wait for the cells to mature before shooting them, and don't wait too long after they mature or they will die. Avoid being hit by any
You know, disease-fighting structures called T cells are also formed in the bone marrow.
Now approaching thymus gland, located above the heart.
The cells produced in the thymus attack any organism that shouldn't be in the body. It's like the body's own private army.
Wait, are we supposed to be in the body?
Don't worry, I'll protect you. We are now moving on towards the neck and the rest of the lymphatic system.
A lymph node is a small mass of tissue that filters lymph fluid. Lymph fluid contains white blood cells.
There are several lymph nodes located all around the body. These are all connected by lymphatic vessels. Disease-carrying microorganisms traveling in the blood are filtered into the lymph nodes and destroyed.
Now entering a lymph node, where white blood cells and T cells coming from the thymus are. Attention! Lymph node requires some assistance. Destroy the viruses shown by using the arrow keys to steer and the space bar to fire. Avoid colliding with the viruses. If you hit one, it will become
What's next?
We are headed to the spleen.
The spleen is the largest organ in the lymphatic system, located in the abdomen. Its job is to break down and remove damaged and old blood cells and platelets from the blood.
Wait a second, what are platelets?
Platelets are cells in the blood that assist in blood clotting. When you cut your skin, platelets attach themselves to the wound and help stop the bleeding. Dead platelets are what make up a scab.
Oh, I knew that.
Uh-huh.
Attention! Spleen needs your help to break down old blood cells and platelets.
I'm up for that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Steer the ship through the spleen and destroy damaged and old blood cells and platelets, but do not destroy healthy ones. Use the arrows to steer and the space bar. You did splendid. Splendid. But first you have to finish the system. Now, headed to the liver and on our way to the heart.
From the spleen, blood cell remnants are converted into bile in the liver. The bile is then used in digestion.
I'm glad to see the body recycles.
Splendid. Splendid. Splendid.
Oh boy, we're going to have to talk to the person that programs your jokes computer.
Splendid. Now re-entering the circulatory system. Now approaching the heart.
I thought we handled that system pretty well.
We sure did, but there's a lot more to do and see.
Now in the aortic arc, right outside the heart. Please choose a direction, or don't press anything and just sit there.
Let's see the respiratory system. We can start in the nose.
Now approaching respiratory system entrance.
The nose should be on the other side of this capillary wall. Hold on! Whoa!
Entrance to nasal cavity successful.
Hold on.
Wow, it feels like a hurricane!
It's just the body breathing in oxygen.
And exhaling waste products like carbon dioxide.
Use the arrow keys to aim and the space bar to shoot all brown dust entering the nasal cavity. Do not shoot Now entering the pharynx.
The pharynx, that's the throat. And look, there's the epiglottis.
The epiglottis is a piece of tissue that blocks off the trachea when we swallow.
And it's a good thing. Without it, we would choke every time we drank or swallowed food. Let's go past the epiglottis and then into the trachea. Then we can head to the lung.
The larynx.
That's the voice box. It's what allows us to make sounds and talk.
Of course, some of us use it more than others.
Those two thin strips of tissue are the vocal cords. When the air from the lungs is forced past them, they vibrate and
Use the 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys on the keyboard to repeat each sound the larynx makes. Lower notes are to the left and higher notes.
The trachea is the windpipe that connects the larynx with the lung.
The lungs are two strong airbags in the chest that fill up with oxygen when we breathe in and remove carbon dioxide when we breathe out.
Well, what happens if we keep going?
We'll reach the alveoli. They're tiny air sacs where the blood absorbs oxygen from the air we breathe.
I know, and through gas exchange gets rid of carbon dioxide.
Red blood cells take on oxygen from the alveoli and release carbon dioxide into the alveoli. Move the blue oxygen molecules in the alveoli to empty red blood cells below. Move the carbon dioxide molecules in the blood cells to empty spots in the alveoli above. Use the 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys on the keyboard, which correspond to the 4 positions in the alveoli to make these
That's the end of the respiratory system. What's the next stop, Tommy?
From the lungs and the alveoli, we have to follow the oxygenated blood to the heart, where it'll be pumped throughout the body.
Now approaching the heart. Left atrium. Left ventricle.
Cool, the ventricle. That's one of the heart's 4 chambers.
Did you know that the heart can beat 2.5 billion times in an average lifetime?
Now in the aortic arc, right outside the heart. Please choose a direction, or don't press anything and just sit there. The circulatory system consists of several parts: arteries, capillaries, veins, the lungs, and the heart.
Blood, which is made up of fluid and cells, circulates throughout the body in arteries.
The blood also removes cell waste products and carbon dioxide from the body.
There are 62,000 miles of blood vessels in the human body.
That's enough blood vessels to go around the world 2.5 times.
Let's head to the nervous system.
Sounds good. First, we have to find it. Hold on.
Look at those nerve impulses. It's like a lightning storm.
In some ways, nerve impulses are a lot like lightning. Those are electrical messages running along that nerve. When the message gets to where it's going, it causes a specific response.
Please follow the impulses to the spinal cord.
Nerves are pretty fast, so hold on.
We are currently traveling in the somatic nervous system.
These are the set of nerves that control voluntary...
Next stop, the spinal cord.
The spinal cord is a bundle of nerves running up and down the back from the brain to the rest of the body.
Transition to spinal cord successful.
Wow, the spinal cord. It's pretty crowded in here.
That's because almost every nerve in the body runs through here.
Well, that's...
Approaching brainstem.
We've made it. We're in the brainstem.
The brainstem controls the body's most basic functions, like breathing and heartbeat. These functions are known as autonomic. This way you don't have to think about them.
Attention, brainstem activity below normal. Autonomic nerves must stimulate stuck nerves using the arrow keys to move left and right and the space bar to fire. Once you have stimulated a nerve, move out of its way or the ship will be damaged. These nerves are responsible for breathing and heartbeat, so try...
What's next, Tom Motto?
The thalamus. The thalamus.
Now approaching the thalamus.
The thalamus is like a big switchboard that sends messages from the senses to their proper place. If someone pulls your ear, the nerve impulses go through the thalamus and then to the cerebrum, which tells you... What was that for?
I want... was working.
Anna, look! We made it to the main part of the brain. The head mental unit, the great thinking and reasoning element, the thing that makes us who we are.
All right, already. We get the idea. Take a chill pill. Did you know that the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body, and the left side controls the right side? I think that's strange.
And so are you. Anyway, the left side of the brain is responsible for logic, math, and language. And the right side is the artistic side. It's in charge of things like
You have entered the area of the cerebrum responsible for math and logic. As a number appears at the top of the screen, guide it using the arrow keys to one of 4 positions. The falling number and the number it rests on must add up to the number. You've entered the area of the brain responsible for memory. Choose a square. Shoot the moving taste shapes so they fall on the tongue below. Make sure that the taste shapes fall within the section containing the matching shape, and be sure to get out of the way of falling shapes or it will count against you. Use the arrow keys to You will be shown an object. You will then be given a choice of 3 objects, one of which is the same as the first object, but in a different position. Choose the matching object by moving the cursor with the arrow keys and using the space bar. Now approaching the inner ear, we are proceeding into the cochlea.
The cochlea. That's the liquid-filled snail-like structure in the middle of the ear.
Right. When a sound enters the ear, it makes the eardrum move. This eventually causes waves inside the cochlea. These waves stimulate the hairs called cilia, which create electrical nerve impulses, which we interpret as sound.
Now entering the cochlea. Please avoid all sound waves passing the ship. Use the arrow keys. You've entered the section of the brain responsible for pattern recognition. 3 items will be shown. You must then choose the item from below which would like. You have entered the occipital lobe and are now traveling down the optic nerve to the eye.
When light from an image enters the eye, nerves transmit that image in the occipital section of the cerebrum, where it's processed.
Yeah, but what actually happens in the eye?
I'm getting to that. That round opening in the front called the pupil is surrounded by the iris, which opens and closes in order to regulate how much light enters the eye.
That's why the eye has to adjust when you go into sunlight after leaving a dark movie theater.
Right. And behind the pupil is the lens, which focuses the light coming in against the back of the eyeball or the retina. Sometimes the lens is not the right shape and you need to wear glasses to help you focus correctly. It works a lot like a camera.
Except you don't need film.
The retina contains tiny structures called cones and rods which respond to light. Rods help you see in dim light and enable you to see shape and movement. And cones give you sharp vision and allow you to see color.
Anna, you must exit the ship and activate the cones and rods. Activate each cone or rod by landing on it. The goal is to make the color pattern on cones and rods match the color pattern on the monitor. Every time you jump on a cone or rod, it will change color. Use the I, O, K, and L keys on the keyboard to jump diagonally. You have entered the area of the cerebrum that controls language. Each screen will show one main word. Select the opposite of the main word from the 3 choices given. Nervous system completed. 3 cheers to you. Now in the aortic arc, right outside the heart. Please choose a direction or don't press anything and just sit there. Approaching integumental system.
That's the skin, the largest organ in the human body.
And it has a complex and important role. It protects the body from outside elements, helps to maintain temperature, and acts as a sense organ. Now entering integumental system.
Skin is composed of several layers of cells. The outer layer is called the epidermis, and it's made up of millions of living and dead cells, which are always being... Some of these cells contain melanin.
Melanin is pigment that protects the skin from the sun's rays and gives skin its color. If a person has more melanin, they're...
And you get tanned when you go to the beach because skin produces more melanin when it's exposed to sunlight.
Attention! Your assistance is required to replace old epidermis cells with new ones.
It's time to save...
Use the arrow keys and the space bar to build new layers of skin, but avoid leaving gaps between cells. If a gap is present, the layer will Use the arrow keys and the space. Now it's on to the dermis.
Below the epidermis is the dermis. This is a thick layer of skin cells that contain blood vessels, nerve endings, sweat glands, oil glands, and hair follicles. Sweat glands in the dermis produce sweat when the body gets too hot. This helps to regulate the body's temperature.
Oil gland ahead.
Oil glands in the dermis prevent the skin from getting too dry.
Sometimes too much dirt or dead skin cells get trapped in an oil gland and it becomes a pimple.
A hair follicle. Hairs grow in narrow cavities that open at the surface of the skin.
Ooh, we'd have to have a pretty large razor to cut this hair.
There's a nerve ending. Nerves come to an end at the skin.
That's what allows us to feel when there's a bug crawling on our neck.
On the surface, skin seems pretty dull. But I guess there's a lot more to it than I thought.
Congratulations! You have completed the integumental system. Now approaching the digestive system.
Yeehaw! Digestive system.
I guess we're starting in the mouth.
Wow, this is a big mouth.
Oh, you should talk.
Look at the size of those teeth.
Look, it's all filled with spit.
It's called saliva.
Oh, same thing. Either way, it's the first step in digesting food.
Teeth have not been cleaned properly. Bacteria forming on teeth must be eradicated before tooth decay begins. The ship's water cannon will destroy the bacteria. Use the arrow keys to aim and the space bar to shoot.
Gross. Now I see why it's important to brush and floss.
Are those tonsils?
Yep, they filter out microorganisms entering the body.
Sometimes they get infected and need to be removed. That's a tonsillectomy. I had one.
Oh, I thought you had a brainectomy.
Transition successful.
Is it me or are the walls moving?
That's peristalsis. The muscles in the walls of the esophagus squeeze and push food towards the stomach, kind of like squeezing toothpaste out of a tube.
Is throwing up reverse?
Yep.
I think that's the stomach up ahead. We've reached the cardiac sphincter, the muscular gate that keeps food and digestive acid within the stomach. Now I understand how the stomach breaks down food. It's this horrible churning and digestive acid that does it.
I feel like dinner.
Oh, how can you think of food at a time like this?
No, I mean, I feel like we are dinner. Let's get out of here.
Stomach is not properly breaking down foods. Situation. Press down on the number 1 button to crush all food entering the stomach. Do not crush the same piece of food more than once or it will count against you. Spray all food with HCl using the number 2 button. If the food turns yellow, it is a protein and must also be sprayed with pepsin using the number 3. Press down on the number 1 button
stomach has a tough job.
Let's keep going.
Now entering small intestine.
We're in the first part of the small intestine, the duodenum. Enzymes from the liver and pancreas help break down different kinds of food. Certain enzymes work on only certain kinds of food, like a lock and key.
Sometimes I wish your mouth had a lock and key.
Match the following enzyme shapes with the correct food shapes. Use the arrow keys to move the enzymes left or right and the space bar to rotate. If no match is available, dump the enzyme in the garbage.
I'd like to see where all these enzymes and digestive fluids are made.
To the liver, then.
Since they enter the duodenum from the bile duct, that's where we're heading. We're sailing on the Nile of bile. The liver is pretty important. Not only does it make bile, it cleans your blood of harmful toxins like alcohol.
Now passing the gallbladder, which stores bile produced in the liver. The yellow-green fluid you see is bile. It breaks down the fats in food. Attention! Liver is not destroying. Destroy all harmful toxins. Use the arrow keys to steer and the space bar to fire. Move the ship forward by pressing the up arrow. Pick up medicine to lessen Nice shooting. Mission accomplished.
Aye, aye, computer.
Entrance to pancreas successful.
The pancreas. Not only does it make enzymes that help digest food, it
Also produces insulin, which helps control the body's use and storage of sugars.
Since sugar is the body's main source of fuel, the pancreas is très importante.
The pancreas is producing faulty enzymes which must be collide with red damaged enzymes to destroy them. Avoid hitting the yellow healthy enzymes. Use the arrow key collide with red damaged enzymes.
Well, we'll be here forever.
Slow down!
So this is the small intestine.
Funny it's called that, since it happens to be 18 feet long. But that gives nutrients plenty of time to be absorbed into the blood. Look, that's the appendix over there. It might have a role in destroying germs, but nobody's really sure yet.
Well, we'll come back when they figure it out. If we keep going, we'll end up where digested food goes.
You mean outside the body? Oh no, we'd better get back to the circulatory system. And quick! Computer, take us back into the bloodstream.
Congratulations, you have completed the digestive system.
The blood also removes cell waste products and carbon dioxide from the body.
There are 62,000 miles of blood vessels in the human body.
That's enough blood vessels to go around the world 2.5 times.
Approaching skeletal system.
Very cool. The skeletal system. Without it, we'd be a blob with nothing holding us up.
Even with bones, I think you're still a blob.
Hey, zip it, bonehead. There are 206 bones in the human skeleton. Some are really long and strong like the bones in the leg, and some are small and delicate like the bones in the ear, but each one is very important.
Bones do more than just provide a frame for the body. They also store important minerals, produce blood cells, store fat, and provide protection for...
Skeletal reconstruction about to commence. Please put skeleton back together by choosing a piece and moving it to the correct place on the body outline. Use the arrow keys to select a bone. Press the space bar to pick it up and to drop it.
On to the next system, computer.
Seeing as you've completed the skeletal system, let's fly. Now in the aortic arc, right outside the heart. Please choose a direction, or don't press anything and just sit there. The arteries become smaller and become microscopic tubes which are called capillaries. Capillaries carry blood into all the tissues of the body. Because capillaries are so small and have such a thin wall, oxygen and nutrients can easily enter. The body cells on the top of the screen need oxygen to live. The red blood cells underneath are taking oxygen molecules to the body cells and also taking carbon dioxide away. The 1, 2, 3, and 4 keys on the keyboard correspond to the 4 body cells above. Move the carbon dioxide in the body cell, blood cell below, and move the oxygen from the blood cells to an empty body cell above by pressing the key that corresponds to one of the 4. Okay, young geniuses, can you tell me what platelets are?
Platelets are specialized cell fragments produced in the bone marrow that travel in the blood.
When there's an injury to the circulatory system, like a cut, platelets begin to stick to the cut and stop it from bleeding. That's called clotting. Eventually, the dried platelets form.
Now that I know that you know what platelets are, you better help make them work. There is a small injury to this blood vessel. Move each platelet as it appears so
If our blood didn't clot, Anna, we would bleed to death from even the tiniest cut.
Well, thank goodness for...
Welcome back. You should be very proud of yourselves. You handled that excellently. Anna and Tommy, you have conquered difficult challenges and you have succeeded brilliantly. You have gained incredible knowledge and insight into how the human body works. You have shown that you have what it takes. Hopefully, this experience will make you want to discover more about anatomy, science, and medicine. It's up to you to decide what to learn about next. The possibilities are endless. You are only limited by your imagination.
Are you hungry?
Yeah. You know, traveling through the human body, you sure can work up an appetite.
I'm starved. Anna, Tommy, get in.